That brings us to the superintendent's report, and I'll recognize Dr. Melton.
Thank you, Chairman Cates, board members, and community members. We know that it is of great angst, as Mr. White had in his prayer earlier, the spread of the coronavirus, and as well as the flu this season, of course, at the time of any illnesses. So we want to make sure that I pause this evening just to give a reminder, an update. We are in direct communication with the State Department of Education. Superintendent Spearman continues to send messages to superintendents. I commend Dr. Harris and our lead nurse Richards. They continue to make sure we're working closely with DHEC to make sure that we have the newest, most relevant information that we could lead through with School District 5. I celebrate the cooperation and the advisement that we're taking from our local agencies and the connection that we have to make sure that the information we have is valid information that we can rely on. But tonight I'd like to highlight just a few staff members that are directly involved with our efforts here in School District 5. Ms. Goggins, of course, takes the lead with our internal and external communication. She and her team get information through a variety of agencies, and then we vet it here internally. So Ms. Goggins and her team have already released statements to our parents and to our principals, our staff, and our community. We encourage everyone to continue to monitor social media. I'd also like to commend Mr. Richardson, our Chief of Finance, who works with facilities and transportation, along with many other responsibilities. But our Director Hannon, who is here this evening, and the Director Wiseman at the back of the room, if I'm not mistaken, I see the hand. Thank you, Mr. Wiseman. We are making sure that our buses are clean and our facilities are clean. So both Mr. Wiseman and Mr. Cannon have taken a direct approach to working with every staff member that's involved with the cleanliness of our facilities and our transportation. I would like to celebrate our facility supervisors. All across School District 5, our facility supervisors are our liaison between Mr. Cannon and his staff with the safety and security and the cleanliness of our schools. And they and our principals are making sure that we're on the forefront of this under Mr. Richardson's guidance. Dr. Harris, of course, is working with our nurses to make sure that we have up-to-date information. And we continue to try to remind folks, if your children are sick, we prefer they stay home. Just as of today, we're trying to make sure we get the message out to principals. School District 5 has such a high level of academic excellence. We encourage absenteeism to be low, attendance to be high. We encourage perfect attendance for those that can earn it. But for you all to know, we're going to back off on that encouragement. We prefer our environments to be safe and secure. So if we do have families that have children who are not feeling well, we encourage them to stay home so that we can prevent any kinds of spread of germs which could lead to illness such as the flu, colds, and other kinds of things such as coronavirus. Mr. Giuliano and his staff, in cooperation with Mr. Wiseman, we're monitoring our field trips to make sure that we know which trips are coming up. We, of course, have an approval process that is board vetted through our policies. But once things are submitted to Mr. Giuliano, he and Mr. Wiseman are looking to see where are travels and trips being taken to include professional development of our teachers. So all of that's a brief example. I hope that it gives you all insight. There's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. And we're communicating things appropriately when we feel that it's time. And we can have the confidence that our message is appropriate and accurate and can be upheld. I have to make sure that I echo what Superintendent Spearman has tried to make sure that superintendents are responsible to share. Any closures is not up to a local school district to make. It is a collaboration with our DHEC, which of course is the Department of Health and Environmental Control. We work closely with them, and they are working closely with the Governor's Office and of course Superintendent Spearman and the Department of Education. So if you're a community member and don't have children in our schools, I would encourage you to watch our social media to make sure that you're informed. Make sure you stay tuned with the local news. We want to make sure that people know what's going on in the community. Visit our site so that you can have up-to-date information, and whenever there are questions, we encourage you to reach out to the appropriate staff member to have any information that you may wish to have about School District 5. So hopefully that will bring information and some calm to an environment that is very anxious right now. But we want to make sure that you all understand there's a thoughtful process, there's protocols, and there's of course responsibility that goes into this effort. Officially of record tonight, we have 2 reports from the Superintendent's Office. The first one I'm going to ask Dr. Harris, who is our Chief of the Office of Planning and Administration, to introduce our first report this evening. Dr. Harris.
Thank you, Dr. Melton, Chairman Cates, members of the board. We are and certainly continue to be very excited about a new venture and endeavor here in School District 5, one that has gained much media attention in recent days and weeks, and it's entitled Stop It Solutions. And we have asked Student Services Officer, Ms. Kelly Brown, to come forward and to share with you a little bit about Stop It. Ms. Brown.
Good evening, Chairman Cates, board members, and Dr. Melton. The South Carolina School Board's Insurance Trust has sponsored an opportunity for school districts across the state to launch Stop It Solutions. Stop It Solutions is an anonymous smartphone and desktop app that allows students to report a concern or share information that they would like for administration to know about. The platform empowers students and staff to speak up about behaviors like bullying, school threats, mental health concerns, or other forms of misconduct. This app gives students and staff just another avenue in which they can ask for help or report a concern. When we heard about Stop It Solutions, we know that superintendent's priorities, number 4 and 5, deal with internal and external communication and promoting a safe environment for our students and staff. So when we heard about Stop It Solutions, we knew this would directly align with what we are doing in District 5. So before I get into the logistics of it, the implementation of what we've done in District 5, let me share with you a video that will go into the basic concept of Stop It.
Life can be difficult, and it's not always easy to speak up when something's wrong or dangerous in your life or someone else's. Stop It empowers you to help yourself and to help others. Stop It gives you a voice to do what's right, to deter troublesome behaviors like bullying, cyberbullying, and hazing, helping to make your school environment a safer and happier place to learn and grow. What is Stop It? Stop It is a simple, fast, and powerful app giving you the power to make a difference today. You can report anything. You can report issues like bullying, hazing, violence, and inappropriate behavior on and offline. Virtually anything. Doing the right thing is as simple as one click on your phone, sending your report in real time to people that care and are ready to help. Make no mistake, Stop It is 100% anonymous. Period. End of story. How does it work? Once downloaded, open the app and enter the access code provided by your school. Now, go make a difference. If you experience or are witness to something you would like to report, simply open the app, tap the report button where you can send a message, photo, screenshot, or video evidence to the people that can help. Hit send and feel great. Next, the people that can help will receive your alert. When necessary, someone can reach out to you with Stop It Messenger, 100% anonymous two-way chat. In some cases, you may want to reach out for help when times are tough. When you need someone to listen and to help, you can use Stop It Messenger. Let's start making a difference. Download the Stop It app. It's free.
So a couple of things that I would like to highlight on that were mentioned in the video, but of course specific to District 5 is first off that this is a new platform, but it's not a new concept to our students. Our secondary schools have had an anonymous platform for them to report concerns on. So this is not a new concept for them, but of course a new platform. Some of the new features on this platform is the messaging component. So once a student submits a report, if they have additional information they would like to receive from the student or further details, they can certainly utilize the messaging component to communicate directly with the reporter, which allows administrators to gather information quicker and respond and intervene for the situation. On the app or on the desktop app, there's also a resource section. So there are hotlines that we have provided, the suicide hotline, the Lexington County, Richland County Sheriff's Department phone numbers, mental health, alcohol and drug, suicide phone numbers that they can have access to 24/7. Another feature that Stop It provides is 24/7 monitoring. So if a student presents a report that sends a message that it could provide, might have self-harm or harm to others, their sensor allows us, their screener allows for them to make immediate contact with the district emergency contacts. If the first emergency contact doesn't answer, the second emergency contact is called, so that we are able to quickly communicate with the school site, with the student or the family to intervene and get support for the situation. The other component of this is it is free to our district, to our students and staff. So we have currently, I think there's about 13 other districts across the state that are utilizing Stop It. So we were excited to be on the front end of launching this, and we were excited about this app, but we wanted to be very intentional with our process in launching Stop It. So you will see the timeline noted up here of how we began this discussion. We first started with our safety officers, certainly with their background in law enforcement and their role as safety officers for our district. We knew that their input to this launch would be critical as we began exploring this avenue. Then we started with our secondary principals and we trained them, we exposed them to Stop It, and we provided training for them so that they would be very familiar with the app as we prepared to launch it in our secondary schools. While they were communicating with their staff, with their students about Stop It, we also continued to meet with the Parent Advisory Council and Student Advisory Council so that we could gain their input and feedback as well. We also connected with our technology department. We know we want to be very intentional about how we promote cell phone usage during the school day and throughout instruction. So we wanted to connect with technology to make sure that students had access to Stop It during instruction, which they could utilize on their Chromebook devices. Because we're one-to-one in our secondary schools, we were able to push this out on all Chromebook devices to our students, and then also on all the devices to our staff members. So you can see as you can see, on February 18th, we launched this to our secondary schools and began that process and had wonderful experiences with this. Simultaneously, we have begun the process of preparing our elementary schools for Stop It. So right now, they are in the phase of being trained with our elementary principals and administrators, and now communicating with their staff and students, as well as the school counselors, and we prepared to launch with our elementary schools on March 17. So we are excited about this launch. Our admin teams have been really phenomenal with incorporating this system into their routine. Our faculty members have embraced it. Our parents have been very supportive as we talk with them through SSC and Parent Advisory Council. And our students, some of our students, of course, have tested the app to see if someone's on the other side listening and monitoring the reports. But I will also tell you that we have had huge success with this app. Certainly students are making reports that I have seen or did you know, I've heard. But something remarkable is students are also making reports that I'm struggling with, I need help with, I'm having a hard time dealing with. And so it's been really phenomenal to see when a student makes a report within minutes, their admin team, school counselors, SROs, our safety officers, they have a plethora of resources within minutes at their fingertips to help intervene and help them deal with whatever's going on. So we're excited about the Stop It launch and excited to give our students and staff just another resource, another way to ask for help, regardless of the grade, regardless of the school, regardless of the area. Our students and staff members know on District 5 campuses that they can reach out and ask for help through the Stop It app. So I will turn it back over to you, Dr. Harris.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. Thank you for the presentation. And you heard us say we're excited. We certainly are excited about that. This is something that we are making available. Kindergarten to our students and staff, kindergarten through our adult education program. We want to make certain, as you've heard, that there is yet another opportunity, another avenue in which students and staff have available to them on our campuses here in School District 5 to make it known that they're either struggling or that there is something there at a school that should not be, so that there can be adequate and appropriate responses to that. We appreciate the report, and we will turn the floor back over to the Superintendent and Mr. Cates.
Dr. Melton, questions for Dr. Melton? Mr. Lovelace.
Dr. Middleton, one of the things that, as an employer, that we struggle with is cell phone usage on the job. And I think I just heard that we're putting this on district devices, but not primarily for personal cell phones.
Yes, sir, that's a great question. For everyone to know, we have Chromebooks that are issued to all of our secondary students and intermediate level. So as Ms. Brown described, we push it out through our Chromebook apps because we are a Google app district. So it's on every device that School District 5 manages. Now, we do have some students that may not accept a District 5 device, so they may choose to download this on their own personal device, whether it's a laptop, whether it's their own phone. One thing I can celebrate about Ms. Brown's leadership and the leadership of our principals is Dr. Harris shared with me a story of a student who actually downloaded the app prior to us going live on February the 18th and actually made a report the week before. And what celebration that is, that the student had that kind of initiative. We certainly don't want to have to police whether a phone is out to report something would stop it versus personal entertainment. So as Ms. Brown described, we push it out through the Chromebooks as our primary effort and avenue to get this out. But students may so choose to use their personal device to download the app as well to have one more opportunity. Or if something were to happen after hours and they did not have their district device with them, it could still be on their phone. Dr. Harris, I may have forgotten something that you would like to add. So what would you like to add to Mr. Lovelace's response?
I think that was certainly a very concise and complete response to that. We're just, again, excited about having this available, whether a student uses on their personal device or the device in which the district provides. The bottom line to it all with this app is that we want to know that something needs to be addressed and needs to be addressed appropriately and as quickly as possible when students and staff are on the school campuses.
So for students in class, we don't want a personal phone becoming the distraction, that they may want to report something using the district device of the Chromebook or in the cafeteria, any place else they may be on campus. But we also know in bathrooms and other places, we don't manage and monitor that. So there is the error or the opportunity of a window that students may choose to use a personal device if they've downloaded it on that with their parent permission.
Other questions? Ms. Sandy?
Mine are twofold, but they're different. If I may, I'll ask them both of Dr. Melton. One is in implementing this, and I'm going to use the bully. You know, that was one of the examples that was given to us up there. I'd like to know just sort of the process if a child, because I know as a teacher of 8th grade, that happens. So the child could actually send that to the right place. And I'm interested, would it be immediate, whoever gets that, like say if it's the principal, the assistant principal, they would go immediately and work with that and how it happened? Because one of the things that I think about, and this is just, again, a teacher hat, but that's what our teachers have to do. Some kids make up stuff, and you know that, and you kind of have to investigate. So I guess I'm thinking about this, they've got the process to do and get help. And I just wondered like how quickly we are able to call in the kid, you know, and do the teacher or the principal investigation. So I was just thinking, I wanted to hear from you about how that goes, because I see pitfalls in sometimes the way kids act, so I want to see how we're doing.
Yes, ma'am, so response time. That's
Response.
something that's concerned to us as well. And Dr. Harris has actually shown me some interactions of conversation. It looks like a text message conversation. So on the video, if you've noticed, it looks like you're communicating via text message with the sender and the receiver. Dr. Harris has shared examples with me, as has Ms. Brown, of messages that have been sent even over weekends and after hours. So if the message comes and the first responder doesn't have a quick enough response time, it goes to the second. I'd like for Dr. Harris to see what else he'd like to add regarding response time.
Can you give a 10-second review of how that works for us?
Sure. So once a student makes a report, it immediately goes to their device. It goes to they can set it up to go to a cell phone device, or it goes to their email. And so administration is immediately notified of the situation. Now, of course, we would encourage our administrators to handle it like they would a report come into their office on a sheet of paper. Certainly there has to be investigation that takes place before the interventions or accountability can be held. Also, the last feature on the app before they submit is that they're stating that the information that they're reporting is true, and they know false reports can be investigated.
And that was my other one, Dr. Melton basically answered. I wondered, would we still get the messages after hours?
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
that could be happening.
After hours and weekends, and Ms. Brown described it well, but we've had some students test the system, i.e. some hoax messages, just to make sure that they are testing and make sure that we're true to our word. And I celebrate the leadership of our administrative teams at the secondary level. I celebrate our student leaders. They have shared Ms. Brown, Dr. Harrison with me. They wanted to get behind this, and they said, our classmates listen to us differently than they do some adults. So our secondary students asked if they could be a part of how to communicate this out. So yes, ma'am, I can tell you the response time is, we're satisfied with that to be this early in the process. And we are confident that we have revealed those that have been truthful and those that have been, I'll use the word hoax. Ms. Brown was a little more careful than me.
She was, but yes, you're both right. How about that? Absolutely. Paying careful attention to that, Ms. Hammond, to make certain that we are separating what is factual versus what's not as factual. And I commend our administrators on the secondary level for their response time. It has been ideal, and it is something that we're very proud of.
I think it's great. I just know kids in the misuse. I want to see what our plan was there. Thank you.
It's quality assurance, Ms. Hammond.
Thank you.
Quality assurance.
Mr. White?
My question is there any chance that the volume of this can get out of control? We all are responding to app. I mean,
We have not at the place that we want to have more FTEs yet, but the volume is going to hinge on the circumstances. One that I'd like to highlight from this is it also has a platform for positive communication. If we had an assembly here at Dutchford Middle School, Mr. Salva could send out a message. Remember, pep rally is at whatever time. I mean, we're not having a pep rally, students, for Dutchford Middle tomorrow, in case that were to get out. If it's a spirit week, that's something that the administrative team could send out. So there's the opportunity for two-way messaging and positive things to go out, not just a simple reporting of things. But if there were to be an incident that became, let's imagine we had a large-scale fight with a lot of students involved. There likely could be a lot of reports coming in through that, but by that time, there will be the response time and effect of administrators responding. Dr. Harris, anything you'd like to add to that?
I do. We were certainly very conscious about that too, Mr. White, early on. And as with anything new, obviously, we anticipate that there would be an increase. But again, our administrators have handled that and have handled that very well. And the Stop It Solutions organization has assured us that over a period of time, that's going to begin to plateau anyway. As people become accustomed to it, familiar with it, that the newness kind of wears off of it, so to speak, and it will be pretty much business as usual. But so far, we have not gotten to the point where it is out of control at all, anywhere near that. And again, we are very responsive, and all of our administrators are doing a great job with it.
Even within the 2.5 weeks of launching this, it has already declined and the reports come in. So we're monitoring that to make sure it's leveling out, which we're already seeing.
so y'all gonna give it to the board too?
Well, I will celebrate the fact that
You might have the volume out of control there.
this is inclusive of our adult education, it's inclusive of district office staff, so we've made sure that it's inclusive of staff members, but we've not included the board at this time, Mr. Walker.
Ms. Gardner?
Dr. Melton, can you describe how this is going to work in the elementary level when the students aren't one-to-one on their Chromebooks? Do they have access to their teachers, or how does this work?
We very much want to make sure it's developmentally appropriate, so the plan that we have, if you look at the timeline that Ms. Brown has included in your packet for you to see, the addition of elementary principals was to make sure that we included it in the conversation and look at it through a developmentally appropriate lens. Because we're not one-to-one, because of the age and the development of young elementary school students, we're focusing primarily on staff, so that if there's concerns that they may have, because the resources that are included are a variety of hotlines that teachers could have directly accessible to them within their genre, within their resources that they have toolboxes. Dr. Harrison, the additions that we've had of elementary administrators thus far has been focused upon, if you'd share that.
Absolutely, and there has been great focus. In fact, Ms. Brown, today or yesterday, one or the other, met with administrators, again, elementary administrators, to develop a plan. They had an interest in rolling this out simultaneously and alike. They didn't want 12 different plans, they wanted a single plan, so they are working on that. They're communicating with their parents, so we look forward to, in the next week or two, when we're ready to launch the plan, there will be a plan that will address students, and I think the idea is K through 3, and then something a little bit different for the students who are a little bit older, in 4 through 5, again, monitored by the students. The beauty of it all is our 4th and 5th graders, as they matriculate and move forward, and they already have an idea as to how to use it. They're very familiar and accustomed with it already. So their plans are in the works right now, and the elementary principals are working together collectively to have the same plan in every school. So wherever a student might be, should there be transfers or what have you, they'll be familiar with that same plan.
Thank you. It's, the technology we often bemoan, but our students we're using the technology, and so to give them a resource where they can reach out for help and maybe break that chain of that downward spiral. So, Dr. Milton, thank you for that report.
Yes, sir. The second report this evening is from the Office of Finance and Operation, Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Dr. Milton, members of the board. In your packet, Exhibit C, we've got a monthly financial statement for the month of January. Very briefly, for the month of January, we've received $37,325,840. We've expended $16,056,594. Year to date, we've collected $114,784,487, and we've expended $95,645,819. That concludes my report. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions if there are any.
Mr. Lovelace.
Mr. Richardson, this past week I was made aware that there are consultants that are working for us with new hires and so forth. And where is that shown on this budget?
What was that for?
Consultants. There are consultants that are working for the district, and they're working primarily with new hires and administration.
Mr. Lopes, may I ask for that one? Tell me what you mean by working with new hires administration. Do you mean?
Well, I know of one. There's a gentleman named Sullivan or a lady named Sullivan that we had working with the director of facilities, and I think there's others.
Oh, Mr. Jerry Sullivan, perhaps?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Sullivan is one that we have had under contract as a temporary employee.
Yes.
When we brought forth the name that was approved, obviously we have Clay Cannon as our director of facilities now. Mr. Sullivan had been here for the interim after we had the departure of the previous person. So Mr. Sullivan has stayed on to assist with Mr. Cannon's transition into School District 5. So he's one that we have as a temporary employee that has been involved with the leadership and the capacity of that position during the departure, the vacancy that we had that time frame for that. So yes, sir, that would be one that we would have as a temporary employee.
Do we have others?
It probably would depend. That'd be something I need to ask Dr. Jakes to do some research with. We have a variety of folks that come in for different contractual services that may be leading professional development. It may be people that are leading some support of new staff members in their roles, those kinds of positions. So it would be a wide search that we would need to look towards that. If it be the will of the board, we could create a search to see what the criteria of that would be that you all would like to have to make sure that we have a valid report to bring to you.
Other questions? Thank you, Dr. Melton.